Hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report and Happy New Year. It's our first show of 2023. My name is Randy Rosen. I'm your host. Alongside is Tarek Fatal of the Daily News. And Tarek's going to be taking a red-eye tonight. He's got assignments outside the state of California. We'll talk to Tarek about high school basketball that he's covering. He's also covered Alyssa Thompson, the great soccer player of Hardvard-Westlake. And Tarek, it's a huge day for Alyssa.
Yeah, we always kind of knew from the beginning when she was a freshman, I think her first varsity game, she might have scored like 3 or 4 goals. And we knew from the very onset of her high school career, she'd be a national player and now a professional player. She was committed to Stanford, and today she was the #1 pick in the women's soccer league.
Was she as good a player as you've ever seen at the prep level?
Yeah, there's no question. Boys or girls, I've never seen a soccer player dominate like she did. And we're talking like every skill: pass, left foot, right foot, score from distance, go by people, create for others. And her sister Giselle, who's younger, was also a standout as well. They won a state championship, a SoCal regional title. So we all knew she was destined for greatness, and she made her women's national team debut at 17 years old. That is absolutely unheard of. That'd be like Brady, who's going to be a guest here soon from Hardvard-Westlake, playing with like LeBron James and those guys at the U.S. level. It's just unheard of.
And you're saying Brady Dunlap can't do that?
I don't think that's going to be what Brady's... Yeah, he's going to go to Notre Dame. He's going to have a great college career. I don't see him playing alongside LeBron quite yet.
All right, you gave away who our guests are. We have a good show lined up for you. We have Dave Rebibo from the #1 team in the state, Hardvard-Westlake. Their basketball team out to a great start. They're winning just about all their games. And we have Brady Dunlap, his tremendous shooting forward. We're going to bring them in now, talk about this season and what it's like to be the #1 ranked team in the state. You've seen them. How good are they? I know they're ranked #1, but how good are the Wolverines?
Well, I think the most special thing about Hardvard-Westlake, in my opinion, is that they do it with homegrown talent. That's more of the rarity nowadays with the way high school sports is evolving, especially in football and hoops. You get the influx of transfers, and it's because everyone wants to win right away. Well, Hardvard-Westlake's not only winning, but they're winning with guys that have been in the program for a long time. So it's an extra special thing that they're doing.
It's time to meet Dave Rebibo, the head coach, and his star player, Brady Dunlap. I first met Coach Rebibo when he was winning championships at El Camino High School in Woodland Hills. Now he's trying to win another championship at Hardvard-Westlake. Coach, welcome to the program. Great to see you again, and congratulations on this fast start. First and foremost, we got to talk to you about when you played the #2 team in the land, Bishop Montgomery, and we say the land of Southern California. You beat them in triple overtime. Had you ever been in a game quite like that?
No. That was a first for me. I think I've been in double overtime games, but never a triple. I've also never played a neutral site game that felt like a complete road game, which was pretty unique. I remember watching the game before us end at Redondo. I'm like, God, it's a pretty good crowd in here. And then warm-ups ended, and they're doing starting fives, and it's dead silent for us, and then it's erupting for them. And I'm like, oh, we're on the road. This is awesome.
But isn't that a good thing that you get that kind of opportunity to play in that environment in the middle of the season as you get ready for the postseason later on?
No question. With the way scheduling's gone and the way playoffs are kind of done, anytime you can get quality games, home or away, I don't think you can pass them up, especially with the league that we're in, getting that kind of environment, dealing with some adversity. It was a valuable and an incredible experience for us going forward.
Let's bring in Brady Dunlap now. And Brady, you had 38 points in that game, so obviously you went off against Bishop Montgomery. When you have a game like that, that's got to be such a great feeling, especially in such a compelling affair.
I mean, yeah, it always feels good to perform individually, but I thought, like, more so than that, I thought the whole team fought through a lot of individual battles themselves throughout the entire game. I thought it was something that we could all be proud of, that we all accomplished that together. And yeah, it's always great to get the headline and play well, like, in yourself and feel good about it. But I felt like my teammates were really the main people that got me to that headline, having scored as many points as I did. So.
Brady, I hate to bring it up, but the one loss you guys have this year, right, to Liberty of Nevada in the Damien Classic, like Brady's head's down like, yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, but there's got to be, listen, when you guys are winning so much, sometimes, and maybe you might disagree, but sometimes losses can help you grow and can help you learn about yourselves. What did you learn from a tough loss like that?
I think we started the season off super strong. We, I don't even know what we were. We were undefeated. We started getting complacent in practice, and we started getting cocky with just over simple things like scout and paying attention, and just warm-ups, coming out, just not being super energized. And I think that loss, although as much as it hurts me and as much as it hurts the team, really just woke us up. And I mean, it was an important tournament, but not our ultimate goal. And I think at the end of the day, when we look back at it, I think that'll be the turning point of our season. And in reality, I think it'll, turn this whole thing around for us. So,
David, stick with me on this. Last night I see Notre Dame Sherman Oaks. They beat St. Francis in a Mission League game, kind of lopsided. And I talked to the coach, Matt Sargent, after. They got all kinds of talent, some new guys, Caleb Foster, Missy Miller, as I'm sure you know, and of course Dusty Stromer. And I was talking with Matt Sargent, and he said, we're still trying to find identity. What does our team look like the last 3-4 minutes of a really tight game? And he gave you guys a compliment. He said, see, like Hardvard-Westlake, they know what they're supposed to look like those last 3-4 minutes. That's why they're so hard to beat. So my question for you is, what does Hardvard-Westlake look like the last 3 minutes of a game? When it push comes to shove, what does a Hardvard-Westlake team look like?
Well, what we embody is discipline, togetherness, and selflessness. That's what it's about for us. These guys have been playing together for 2, 3, and 4 years. And to see them in adverse situations and just continue to rise is a testament to their character, their buy-in and belief in each other and our program. And I couldn't be more proud of them. I was saying this to our guys the other day. In the last year and a half, we've played a lot of close games. And there was one game that we actually didn't close, and it was the Liberty game in the last year or so. So to see them continue to grow, it's really special.
I want to see how you feel about the Mission League, and be truthful with me. Is Notre Dame Sherman Oaks the rivalry game that you want, or is Sierra Canyon the big game on your schedule? Which is this goes to both of you. Which one are you pointing for the most? That being said, keep in mind, LA 36 on our Pacific Surfliner Game of the Week, we're carrying the Hardvard-Westlake Sierra Canyon game. So I'll start with you, Coach. Your thoughts on what is the biggest game on the schedule? And then Brady can answer.
Every single game is the biggest game on our schedule. Our next game is Loyola, and that's the biggest game on our schedule. And then,
all right, well, let's get we're going to get a truthful answer. We're going to get a truthful answer from Brady. Brady, which game are you looking forward to the most?
The very next game, Loyola. That is me. Every game is the same.
You want me to answer it?
Yeah, you can answer it.
Sierra Canyon.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's the one that they're both circled, but that Sierra Canyon game, it's like the ink is a little bit bolder on the circle. I'll answer it for him.
Dave, how do you see the open division? I mean, Corona Centennial has been so good for the last 2 years. They've been the best team in the state. Now you're carrying that, mantra. You're #1 currently. But doesn't all roads go through Corona Centennial when it's all said and done?
No doubt. 2-time defending champions. They returned 4 out of 5 starters. They got a transfer in Mike Price, who's uber talented. They've got a young crop of guys who are helping off the bench. Obviously, all roads go through them. But it's not going to be easy. Bishop, incredible team. West Ranch, who's in the San Fernando Valley, is playing incredibly well. Obviously, Sierra Canyon is so talented and deep. The list goes on and on. When you're in the open, you're in a fight every single night, and you're going to get everyone's best shot. I mean, St. John Bosco, who I think is a really good team, beat Mater Dei at Mater Dei and beat J. Sarah at home. And those are 2 quality teams in their league, and that's not an easy task.
Brady, my last question for you. Give us a little bit of what Brady Dunlap's off the court is like off the court. You watching college basketball, you playing video games, you're hanging out with your friends at the beach. Like, give us a little bit of what you're like off the court.
Yeah, so obviously hanging out with my friends and, doing the TikTok dances and stuff like that and having fun and just stuff like that. And then more so my free time, I'm starting to get into reading, and I think it's calming my mind down and it's helping me in basketball situations. And I think that's something that I've picked up on reading that's not just school like affiliated, and just it helps me calm me down. I read before games, I read after games. It helps me just something new that I've picked up really in the last couple months that has really like better my entire life and has really helped me on the court as well. So I would say those two things, and me wanting to flex. I'm starting to read a little bit. So
there you go.
But,
Brady, what sold you on going to Notre Dame? What was the deciding factor?
Yeah, so I think it was mainly the coaching staff when I went out there. It was a beautiful campus, and they treated me like family. Coach Bray was meet me in the morning with Krispy Kreme donuts and chocolate milk, delivered at like 11 at night with chocolate milk so I can go to sleep, which is like my thing. I love chocolate milk. And the guys out there I really bonded with. I'm a driven person. I work out a lot. Being successful is like at the very top of my list. That's above everything else, above all the fun. I want to be successful, and I want to, go as far as I possibly can. I felt like a lot of the guys on the team also had that same mindset, and that just having that similarity with all of them was really just sold me on it. So that was really what ended up making my decision.
Well, congratulations on the selection. Everyone knows Notre Dame's a great institution. Coach Rebibo, we're going to see you out on the 20th. We'll see Brady as well when we carry the Sierra Canyon game. I'll be talking to you before that. Best of luck before that, because I know you have big games before the Sierra Canyon game. But we'll check that one out with you. And it's always a pleasure to have you come aboard.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it.
Take care,
Dave
guys.
Rebibo and Brady Dunlap. They're a great team. There's no question about it.
Yeah, they got Loyola Friday, and if I'm not mistaken, they got Notre Dame in Sherman Oaks on Wednesday. So I will see Hardvard-Westlake next Wednesday.
All right. You know what time it is now?
You got me.
I think it's time to take a Pacific Surfliner break, and then we're going to come back with our top 10s for the boys and the girls in basketball. So we'll step out and have more right after this on SoCal Prep Report.
Discovery. From historic gems to iconic beaches to top attractions. Let the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner be part of your journey as you explore more of the place we call home. Reconnect with the communities you love most, with the people you love most. Isn't it time you rediscovered Southern California?
And welcome back to SoCal Prep Report. You looking forward to our top 10s?
Always.
All right, let's start with the ladies. Our Pacific Surfliner top 10, and no question who's number one. In fact, we can add to Sierra Canyon's total. They just completed another victory tonight.
Correct.
They're 19-0. The game just ended. So they're 19-0. Obviously a great basketball team.
Yeah, I got to see them at the Galen Center last weekend? Gosh, just a couple days ago, it feels like. Yeah, Juju Watkins, it was kind of like looking into a crystal ball. Obviously, she's going to USC, so to see her play at the Galen Center, they beat La Jolla Country Day. Listen to this, she had 30 points and 18 rebounds. It's just rare to see, and she did something like that in the state championship game. I want to say she had like 25 and 17 or something. So she's a remarkable player, and I think Los Angeles is very lucky to have her stick around for college.
Etowanda with the great Kennedy Smith, tremendous player. Remember, they beat Sierra Canyon last year in the CIF. Sierra Canyon got them back in the state tournament and won the state. But those two teams are above everyone else.
Yes, they are. And, some teams at the bottom here, no question. Now, just as a reminder for anyone watching out there, obviously, the top 8 teams of this list, I think, are likely. I don't know about Los Osos.
And Westchester, because they're a city school.
Yeah, and Westchester. So you're talking 8 of those 10 are likely, there could be an outlier that we don't have listed there, are likely to go to the open division. So, Chaminade might be a high seed in Division 1 or something the way their season's going, but they got a big game against Alamany tonight. So these are really good teams.
Yeah, and Kevin Kiernan's the winningest coach in the history of California. Well over 800 wins, might have 900 by now for modern day. all the rest. I'm impressed that Westchester is in there. It's great to see a city school. We don't have a city school in the boys, so it's great to have them on the girls' side. The Comets have a wonderful team. And Chaminade on the bottom, they've lost some games. They've also had some good wins.
Yeah, earlier on in the year, if I had to critique this a little bit, you know who I would put right there with Westchester is Granada Hills Charter. They've beaten teams like Chaminade and Westlake and Oaks Christian out in the valley. So that's a team on the rise, and I think it'll be Granada and Westchester in the Open Division City Final.
Yeah, I think there's a great chance of that. And we might have some highlights here because we had Sierra Canyon in our Pacific Surfliner Game of the Week when they played at Hardvard-Westlake. Now, they played without Juju Watkins, but they had Crystal Wang, and she was really good.
She's really good. She's a big, skilled guard. She's going to Northwestern, and she's actually, what's funny is I think I want to say she had like 23 points in this game or something like that, 21, but she's more of a defensive player. So how scary is it for a defensive type player to go out there and score 21 points? It only shows you how deep and talented the Sierra Canyon team is.
Yeah, we just saw Amelia Krzyzewski, and she was great in this game, number one, a powerhouse young lady, just a freshman at 6'4". All right, let's talk about the guys and our top 10 poll presented by Pacific Surfliner. Hardvard-Westlake, you saw it. The guys were great. They're 19-1. Corona Centennials lost some games, but we know they're going to be there in the end. Bishop Montgomery, the one loss in triple overtime.
Yeah, the team I'm telling you that is probably the most sneaky good on this is West Ranch. I've been talking about them all year, and they've got quality wins to back that up. So West Ranch, I think, is a lock for the Open Division. Those top four locks, they're in.
What about the fifth team, Sierra Canyon?
I would say it could be a little shaky. You know, what if they lose to Hardvard-Westlake and they lose to Notre Dame? You know, it could get a little shaky there. I wouldn't call them a lock. Are they likely? Yes.
I call them a lock.
Okay.
We disagree there.
Okay.
They'll get in. Sierra Canyon's going to be in there.
What about Notre Dame?
I think they're the team
Lock?
that could be. No, I don't think
See?
they're a lock.
Yeah,
I don't think they're the lock.
Yeah,
They have to win against
they got to
Sierra
knock
Canyon
out one of
or
those two.
Hardvard-Westlake.
Yeah, they have to, because right now they have 7 losses. See, if you look above Notre Dame, 3 losses, 1 loss. That's 7 losses. That's a high number for the Open Division, so we'll see. However, 6 of their 7 losses to nationally ranked teams.
Now, that Foothill team, they're not going to get in the Open Division, but they've had a great program for the last couple of years. Terrific guard play.
Could be one of those teams that ends up being a high, I don't know what division they are. I don't even think they're Division 1. Division 2. So, and Rancho Christian, I think they're Division 2A. So a couple of these teams, even though they're kind of on this top 10 and they're Open Division of quality, if they don't go to the Open Division, they go down to their respective playoff division where they could dominate. So we could see Foothill go on to win a state championship if they don't go to the Open.
I want to talk some football. Unfortunately, we lost one of the great high school football players in the history of the LA City section, Charles White. Passed away this week from cancer, 64 years of age. But before he was at USC at San Fernando, he was sensational. So we know he was the Heisman Trophy winner at SC. But I want to go back to the 1974 and 75 time when he won city championships with the likes of Kenny Moore and the 2 Williamses, 2 great running backs. In fact, all 4 of them played in the backfield because Kenny Moore was the wishbone quarterback. Now, the greatest blocker in front of him at San Fernando was Tom Hernandez, who was all-city on the 74 team. He graduated in 74. Didn't play on the 75 championship team when they all came back. Tom joins us now, and he's going to give us a little perspective on how great a running back Charles White was at San Fernando for the Tigers. Tom, first and foremost, welcome, and how good was Charles White? And sorry for your loss.
Well, Charlie was amazing guy. He just played football the way it's supposed to be played, and that was full board all the time. Practice, no exception. He practiced as hard as he played in the game, and watching him, and then I became a coach. A few years later, it was just amazing the athlete and the determination that he had. And the Tiger family feels a big loss. Talking to a lot of former players and former teammates, we're coming up on our 50th anniversary, so we'll probably have a big get together and celebrate Charlie. We also lost Kenny Moore this last year. So, it's remembering great times, and Charlie was special. Uh, I did block for him because I was lucky to block for him. If you didn't make the block, he would run into you, and you would feel it. And he was just a tough guy who played football, like I said, the way you're supposed to play, all out, all the time.
If I said Kevin Williams, Raymond Williams, Kenny Moore, and obviously your fullback Charles White was the greatest backfield in the history of Southern California prep football, am I out of line?
No, you're right on. I mean, that was an amazing group of talent that lived, blocks away from each other. We all lived a few blocks away from each other. So a lot of talent that came at one time. And Coach Marsh and Coach Hornbeck put it all together where they all got to share. They had to share the football. You had 4 great athletes, and we had an NFL receiver, and you had to share the ball. And they didn't complain if they only had 5-6 carries. You had to do what you had to do with 5-6 carries, and we had multiple times where they had 100 yards, all of them. And
we're looking at great footage, by the way, of Charles White when he was in high school, number 12.
Tom, my question for you is, what was the reception like when the team was good, like walking through the hallways, the games on Friday nights? I mean, explain to me, I don't know if you want to call it fandom, maybe it was, what was it like to play and be on such a great team? What was the community feel like?
Well, the tradition had started probably 10 years before. When there were some great teams and great players. And every game was a sellout. And it was a community-based school and the whole team. So everybody knew each other. There was multiple players that had all their brothers play there. It just went down in the family, all of them. The Moores, there was 4 of them, and they were all there. 3 of them went to SC. I mean, a guy like Dwayne Jett, he was a wide receiver. He probably had like 20 catches, but he played for Detroit for 3 years. So it was a great time. I mean, to have all that group of people, and we see each other once in a while, and I know now under these circumstances we'll probably all get together again, but it was a great time to play high school football in those days, where it was a big thing. It was like a small town atmosphere where everybody came to the game, grandparents, parents, former players, all the time. So it's a big family.
Tom, not to put you on the spot, but for maybe younger viewers that enjoy watching the show, if you had to maybe compare an NFL running back in the last 10 years to someone like Charles White, like what their skill set and power was like, is there maybe a name that comes to mind?
Of the current NFL guys?
Yeah, or one in the last 10 years or so.
Guys like, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, those type of great running backs. The guys now, I mean, the running back position is a lot different now.
It is.
But they throw the ball so much now. But, we ran the ball 30, 40 times a game. And then when I took over, we did the same thing. We just ran the ball because we could control the clock, and we had so much speed that we used it. I mean, and then it evolved, and we started throwing the ball also. But those guys, they just had a lot of talent. I mean, the guys before him, I was telling some guys that called today. I said, San Fernando High School. Well, there was Anthony Davis before 3 years, and then Charlie came in. So pretty much we had 7, 8 years, and then Anthony Gibson after Charlie. So there was like 8 to 9 years of all Tiger tailbacks there in a row. So that was amazing.
You know, when they talk about the late Charles White now, they talk about his toughness. Did his toughness permeate throughout the team? Did that toughness expand and you all caught on behind Charles White?
You know, we played in a city championship game against Palisades, and Palisades had the ball on the 1 yard line, and we had a big line in those days. You know, everyone, we had guys like 250, 280, and the guy who made the stop at the 1 inch line was Charlie. Charlie came up and just caved in. The fullback was a 210-pound fullback, and
yeah, I think that was Ian Rubin.
Ian Rubin, tough guy to stop. I had to tackle him, but I didn't push him back 2 yards like Charlie did. And Charlie came up and made the hit, and that was a game. And he would do stuff like that. And if we needed a big play, he would break one off for 70 yards, and then we wouldn't have a tight game. We would get some room in the game. So he did some stuff. He was also a great a track star. I went to a track meet. I think we're running against Monroe, and I see him. He's going to run the intermediates, the 300 intermediates. And I go, Charlie, what are you doing? I was just on the sideline, and I go. He goes, oh, they're making me run the 330s. This is a hard race. I don't like it. So he runs it. I think it was the second time he ran it. Well, and then they said after the race, he won by 30 yards, and he broke the national record. The second time he ever ran it. He broke the national record, 36 something. I go, Charlie, they're saying you broke the national record. He goes, man, I hate this race. It's just hard. I go, how long have you been running? He goes, this is the second time I ran it. So that record stood for, I think, like over 10 years. And then he went on and won the state title in that. I mean, that's the kind of athlete that he was. He just ran hard all the time.
Well, Tom, thanks for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it. I know it's trying times, and we feel bad about losing Charles White. We all lose him, but I know you were closer to him. And thanks for sharing all those great stories about San Fernando football and its glory days in the mid-'70s. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that's Tom Hernandez. You know, we lost a great one in Charles White, but you could see Tom Hernandez, how he feels that program still. And he coached him later. He coached him in the early 2000s.
That's a great story. I love that, man. Guy ran out there, didn't even want to be out there, and breaks a national record. That's what great athletes do, and those are the great stories that'll kind of live forever when it comes to an athlete like Charles White.
Pete Ackerman didn't live forever. He had a great life, and he just passed away, and we documented that, the great softball coach out at Oaks Christian. Well, they have a new coach now, Cheryl Coyle, and she's going to be on this program in a couple weeks. She had a commitment tonight and again next week, so in a couple weeks we're going to have her live at 9 on here. And she played at Chatsworth, and I did dig up the footage of her because we had her championship game back in, I think it was 2010. So I know you're excited about that hire.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just think, and you know, what a tough situation. You know, if we're being honest, Pete Ackerman's like a legend. You know, there might be a statue of that guy on campus here soon or something like that. So to come in after him in the way, you know, he had passed away, and suddenly too. So she's got her work cut out for her, just because there's an emotional task at hand too, not just winning games. And I think everyone's very excited for her to be at the helm.
I'm excited because you have to hustle to the airport because you got a red eye. Where are you going tonight?
So I am going to take a red-eye JetBlue nonstop, which is always nice. I'll land in Springfield, Massachusetts, the birthplace of basketball, for the Hoop Hall Classic, excuse me, where the Sierra Canyon boys and girls will be competing, and the Corona Centennial boys. So I'll be covering those guys, and all those games will be on ESPN.
All right, I think it's a dangerous game for the ladies, right? I mean, everyone talks about they're going to end up playing Etowah in the CIF finals and probably the state championship, but the team they're playing when they go on the road is a national team.
Yeah, Sidwell Friends, if I'm not mistaken, out of D.C. So it'll be a really good game. I don't see how anybody could beat Sierra Canyon.
I'm not saying they will.
But you know what? It might be more of a story if they do lose, if we're being honest. They're just so good. But I anticipate two games. Sierra Canyon's going to have to beat Etowah twice, and then probably have to play La Jolla Country Day again.
Yep, that won't be
in
easy.
The regionals.
Yeah, that won't be easy. Tarek, travel safe.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to being back next Thursday.
And Pacific Surfliner, a couple games coming up. You know the game on the 20th. We'll have that one. That's Dave Rebibo's Hardvard-Westlake team against Sierra Canyon. Great boys game. And girls soccer, two teams with incredible records. San Pedro's like 14-1. Cerritos of the southern sections, I think they're 12-0-1. It's going to be a wonderful soccer match. But for now, that's going to wrap up the show. Again, be with us next Thursday night, live at 9. For Tark, I'm Randy. We'll see you next time right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody.